All right, motors are final mounted. You can see there's the I pick up off the motor mount and tie into those nice big ears that they put on the gearbox. So these motors are Warp 9s that Lone Star EV had lightened, and I got from them along with the gearbox. Originally I was planning on just running them, but let's say they've had a hard life. So I went through all the motors and just rebuilt the top end. I don't really have much I can do on the windings themselves. I'm actually don't have any spare windings, but went through, um, pulled out my best brush holders, best brushes, cleaned up the comms on all of them, ran them in for hours under 12 volts separately, and then yeah, I've got it actually installed. It was a bit of a plather getting the motors on the gearbox. It's got a more, let's say, drag friction that I'd like, and I kind of did some musical motors, putting the motors on and off, and for whatever reason, if I put a motor in this location here, regardless of which motor it is, it would get a fair bit of drag torque on there. So, but anyway, it's in there. I'm happy with it. The gearbox makes a really nice plate to mount to it. Obviously, a coupling with 4-to-1. Biggest thing is that all these motors use the keyed shaft. After years of dealing with keyed shafts, I hate them with a passion. So if anyone wants to build something similar to this, use the 32 spline ends that come on the transwarp. They are far superior to the 1 1/8 single key that, well, it's no fault of, obviously not of Lone Star, but or of net gain, because that's what's been used in these motors. These were forklift motors originally, since the 1950s. That's where that kind of standard inch and an eighth keyed shaft came about. I think it was originally used on the GE motors, used them a fair bit, and then ADC with the FB 4001. That was a kind of a standard forklift motor that got used in a lot of conversions, had the same keyed shaft. So it became kind of the de facto standard for brush DCs. But yeah, I still hate keyed shafts. 32 spline or any kind of spline shaft is the way to go. So enough ranting about that. Sorry, I probably took these motors on and off about 10 times getting everything to work because of those keys. But got it down so I could. Well, you saw this in previous videos, but I stand it upright, and with the hoist, I can pull the motor and put it back on the gearbox in about 5 minutes. Now, getting it out of the car is a whole different issue. I saw previously I'd cut out the cross member here. I'll put that back in. I mean, really, that's just for the radiator support and where the hood latch was at, neither of which I'm using, but I'll still put it back in. You can see peeking through there is the drive shift. So let me go down below and show you the naughty bits. Oh. I'll try to get it so you can actually see. So this is the bottom side. You can see the motor mounts there. And then I've also got the rear mounts, so it's not cantilevered. It's actually where the front motors are, but that's perfectly fine. So then, yeah, this is the Lone Star EV gearbox. This is the Lenco reverser. I really could run Lenco transmissions here. I have the room that I could just stack as many as I wanted on. Unfortunately, I have this thing called a budget, and those Lenco gearboxes, I think, run about $2,800 a pop for each gear. The way that works is you have a case very similar to this one, and it has a single reduction unit, and you just stack on those as many as you want to get your gear reduction. I really would like to have one gear in here, but again, I don't have almost $3,000 just burning a hole in my pocket. I got those things called kids. They're kind of expensive. But anyway, so drive shaft, And that's the output from this. This is the Linko reverser, just so I can have reverse, so I don't have to worry about the contactors. Goes with a 32 spline, standard yoke. I think those are 1350s, like 1350s. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. And then I go to a 2-piece drive shaft. Had to miss that cross member. I haven't gotten it installed yet. It's just a dry fit. I just gave the drive shaft shop. Trying to remember the drive shaft shop name. They're over in Inglewood. Bill's Drive Shaft in Inglewood. Big shout out to them. They made a very, very generous donation to my son's cancer donation. So, not that he has cancer, he's doing a cancer fundraiser, and they made a very nice donation. So, anyway, shout out to them for that. So, 2-piece drive shaft to make the angles work. Got the support bearing here. Sometimes measuring twice actually works out fine. So that lands right there on the drive shaft. You can see I'm very glad I did get the 4-wheel drive truck, even though I'm not using the 4-wheel drive. So this is these ears here and here. Normally support the transfer case would sit in this area. So if I didn't have the 4-wheel drive, there would be a big cross member coming out through here that I would have had to hack and really cut up to make work. So it actually fits very well. We got enough room to get everything around. And I still need to put oil both in the reverser and in the gearbox. But like I said, I like to phrase this as I'm at the 80% done, 80% to go stage. Sorry, this video is looking quite bad because of the backlight, but so I have to hook up a mechanical linkage. I've got some push-pull cables left over from, or actually aircraft push-pull cables for doing the throttle, but it takes very little force to do this shifting. I can also just hook up a mechanical lever coming out of here, but I'll work with that. You can see the beautiful metalwork on my wheelbarrow drive shaft tunnel, or transmission tunnel, in this case motor tunnel. So still got a bunch of work done here. Like I said, 80% done, 80% to go, but it almost looks like I know what I'm doing. Almost.